Hello there, White Sox fans. I am finally getting back to a series I started several years ago, and I'm only now just starting episode 3. I can't believe it's been that long. But the idea is that we are going to go back and create a new dimension where the White Sox were actually good in the 2010s. We're going to fix the mistakes of the past and create a new future that'll be a lot more fun to experience as White Sox fans. And if nothing else happens in this season, we've already done the most important thing, which was we made sure that Mark Buehrle came back to the team to be able to play out the rest of his career as a Southsider. Within this game, he'd already been a free agent who signed with the Miami Marlins, but we, fixing the wrongs of the past, have made a big trade at the beginning of the season to bring Mark Buehrle back. And of course, with the benefit of hindsight, we know he's got several good years left in him. So we will stick with him hopefully all the way into the Hall of Fame. We'll see. That's on us to make sure that happens. But as you see the screen before us right now, yes, we are looking at the postseason. Our version of the 2012 White Sox do make it into October baseball, and let's just watch how they do. I'm not going to be playing these games. I'll be simulating them, but then we're going to take a look back at the year. We're going to see how the team is done. We're going to take a look at what needs our team has. And the truth of the matter is our team, I still think, is very thin. There's some really good players in the starting lineup, but when somebody goes down with injury, I don't have really good players to replace them, and we'll take a look at what I mean. But I do want to mention that one of the reasons it's taken me so long to get back into this game is because of all of the work I've had to do to make the game accurate. I thought if I threw a handful of minor leaguers in there, it would be close enough, but I realized that the game itself did not have very many accurate minor league rosters in there. And listen, I'm using a game from the Xbox 360 era, 15 years later, 16 years later. So it's not like I can just download a patch or something. I've got to create these people, but I also have to do the research of finding who is missing from all these teams, looking into their stats, coming up with the ratings for them. So that's taken a lot of time. And I've started to build them out. And sadly, even though I actually do like the game mechanics where you can tell, you can say that this is a 1-star player, and this is what this game uses. It's a star rating as opposed to MLB The Show right now, which has grades like letter grades, A+, B-, etc. I can say that this guy in AAA is a 3-star player. His ceiling is a 5-star player. And I can also say that he'll hit that upper level within these ages of his life. So with the hindsight of being able to do this historically, I can be pretty accurate with that, which is really cool. So I started to build that out. I did a lot of research. It takes a lot of time. And I've started to put those players into the game. But then I saw some of those players that should not be getting called up for many years have started to get called up in the middle of the season, which was unfortunate because it doesn't really make sense. But I didn't want to completely screw up this season in progress. So I stopped where I was. But I do want to show you the people I've added and at what level they are in. We do have some big names in here. We have some moderate players, people that really need to be in this game. Of course, we see Carlos Correa there, Marcus Stroman. And of course, when you start to look at this, you see which teams, in hindsight, really did have more stacked farm systems than other teams. I mean, the Dodgers right there with Puig, Jock Peterson, Corey Seager, Max Muncy, even Ross Stripling, not a big name, but still somebody that made an impact. And Cleveland, of course, Jose Ramirez, Corey Kluber, Taylor Naquin. Those are some big name guys that they have down in the minor leagues now that will be making an appearance very soon. The Mets have some pretty big names with Zach Wheeler and Jacob deGrom. And of course, we can't forget the Washington Nationals. They've got Lucas Giolito in single A. So it's going to be really fun to bring this team up to 2020, which was what I thought was going to be the beginning of a White Sox dynasty. That didn't last very long, but I still do have that goal to make the 2020 team look like the actual 2020 team. But I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do after that. So that's something we might have to figure out together. And it's funny to see somebody like Josh Hader with Baltimore. Forgot he started there, but he was down in single A so far. And the Rockies, Nolan Arenado just in double A so far. And then there are some people like Charlie Blackmon, speaking of the Rockies, who he is in the game, but we know what his career was. So I've been able to update that player. Let's actually go forward and see what happens in these playoffs. Yes, I did have to play one of these games. Mark Buehrle, our ace, started it. I wanted to play it. And of course, he picked up the W. I think it was a pretty close game, though. Let's just go game to game. So we have CJ Wilson going up against Jake Peavy, and White Sox have a lead. White Sox gave up the lead. Is there a comeback in the White Sox after they... Oh, yes, there is. In the bottom of the 8th, White Sox come back. We are going to extra innings is where we're going. I hope. Okay. So I do have to point out that we see Trace Thompson in the lineup here as we head to the 11th. We had Alejandro De Aza actually put together a very nice season. And again, he was one of my favorite players to watch during this season. I always like the scrappy center fielders with speed. Paul Goldschmidt hits a double. And if you don't remember that Paul Goldschmidt is on our team, go back and watch the previous episodes. White Sox walk away with an extra inning victory in Anaheim. Alejandro De Aza gets injured right at the end of the regular season, and he's been out for a couple of weeks, and he's going to miss the playoffs. He's definitely missing the first round of the playoffs. Let's see what happens as we move forward through the different rounds. Hopefully we do move forward into different rounds. White Sox are obviously off to a good start this series, but they are hard-fought games. Brent Lillibridge gets on, steals second and third. AJ Pierzynski hits a sac fly, and that's how the White Sox walk it off. They don't walk it off. This is why I'm getting confused. Okay, so we see the score at the top and makes sense. Anaheim, the lower team. Then why is that not reflected in the graph right below it? All right, so can Jesse Crane finish off the game? Ibar strikes out. Peter Borges flies out. Torrey Hunter's up to bat, walks him. Pujols singles. Oh, goodness. Ferdinand Wells walks. The bases are loaded. Kendrys Morales is up. He hits a single to tie the game back up. Man, all this happening with 2 outs. And we head to the 10th inning, the second straight extra innings game. Alex Rios singles. Thompson flies out. Aramis strikes out. Paul Goldschmidt hits a home run to lead off the 11th. Okay, let's just end this. John Rauch, who was our deadline pickup. The only move I made at the trade deadline, we needed one more arm in the bullpen. I picked up, I returned a former White Sox, John Rauch. He gets Torrey Hunter to strike out, Albert Pujols to fly out with Vernon Wells up. Wells hits a home run to continue the game. Come on. Okay, and then we lead off again. Alex Rios hits a home run to give the White Sox a 5-4 lead as we are in the bottom of the 12th inning. Trace Thompson flies out. Aramis Ramirez singles. Goldschmidt reaches on an error. Brent Lillibridge is up. Lillibridge being up, it shows again that we are kind of thin. Lillibridge was a fun player to watch, but he's not somebody that should be a starter in a playoff game. But he hits a single and makes me look bad right there. Alexi, let's finish this out. Let's put this game out of reach. He singles. All right, just one run in. AJ Pierzynski. He flies out yet again. Matt Thornton comes in. Great guy to have up. I don't remember where he's at in his career. Let's see what happens. Trout flies out. Ibar flies out. White Sox are moving on. Rays advanced over the Blue Jays, and Yankees are now up over the Rays. On the other side, wild card teams, the Cardinals pass Washington. Milwaukee has a 2-game lead up on them. Okay, so now we see the White Sox going up against Tampa Bay. This is all found money. The actual White Sox had a pretty good year in 2012, but they did not make the postseason. And on the other side of things, we have the Marlins make the postseason and they get past the Padres to then now face the Brewers here. We have got Chris Sale going today, and he is going to be facing against Matt Moore. Boy, oh boy, I can't believe how tight this game is. Chris Sale still in, 6 innings in, 7 strikeouts, no runs allowed. Matt Thornton comes in relief, trying to hold on to this tight 1-run game. Upton strikeout. Jennings flies out. Longoria hits a single. Zobrist hits a single. Sean Rodriguez then doubles, but is thrown out going to third. So Thornton gives up that lead. The White Sox now down by 1. Paul Goldschmidt walks, followed by a Brent Lillibridge home run to give the White Sox a 1-run lead in the 8th inning. Jesse Crane now into the game, trying to close it out. 1 out, 2 out. All right, White Sox are keeping the magic alive. I'm really surprised by this, to be honest. I wanted to get that 1 win for Burley. I did not think the simulated games were going to go very well. Gavin Floyd pitching today now, and he is up against Jeremy Hellickson. White Sox on a roll here. Alexi RBI single followed by an AJ RBI double. I am okay to miss the late inning drama. Actually, there was some late inning drama. If you saw that at the end. 3 runs put up in the 9th inning there. Alex Rios batting 9th. That's odd. They have AJ DHing and Flowers catching. And you do see how thin we are. Because Gordon Beckham, who I intended to be our second baseman for the season, has been terrible. Brent Lillibridge took that over, and he's been solid. Not great, but solid. Marcus Semien Yes, that Marcus Semien, if you forgot, he was a Chicago White Sox. He's in the minor leagues most of this year. He's only called up just like Yolmer Sanchez. They've just been called up because there's been injuries. So I'm going to bring in AJ to catch. DHing Yolmer Sanchez. Again, this just shows you how a couple of injuries leaves us really, really thin. And really, to be honest with you, it's only one injury. And that shows you that we have some work to do in this offseason. When you're looking at 3 in a row of Brent Littlebridge, Trace Thompson, Yolmer Sanchez, it's not the most fearsome lineup. But anyway, let's go with this and get back into the postseason. I can't believe we have got a 2-game lead against the Tampa Bay Rays right now. David Price is going against Mark Burley today, and this should be a duel. White Sox take an early lead and extend that lead. Yolmer singles, hits a triple, and then AJ drives him in with a sac fly. Love that. I cannot believe this team is doing as well. Adds 2 more Paul Konerko singles, followed by a Goldschmidt home run, followed by an Alex Rios home run. Wow, the White Sox 1 win away from making it to the World Series in our first season. Okay, James Shields against Jake Peavy. And they add on a lot more. Wow, all right. So suddenly not so tense a game, and Addison Reed can come in and finish it out, which he does. Yes, he does. Jesse Crane had to finish it. But wow, the White Sox are going to the World Series. What? This was not supposed to happen in the first season. De Aza he's technically healthy, but he's still on a rehab stint. So we are not making any organizational changes. So De Aza, sad for him, he missed the entire postseason on this World Series run. Let's take a quick look at him. How much longer do we have him? 2 more years after this one. Let's find out, who do the White Sox face in the World Series? Milwaukee. All right. So they've got Nyjer Morgan, Ricky Weeks, Ryan Braun, Hart, Green, Kochman, Hanley Ramirez. That is who the White Sox, us, traded to Milwaukee in order to get Aramis Ramirez. Taking a quick look, you can see he played 31 games for us and 114 for Milwaukee. Let's see the on-base plus slugging. Under 600 for us, a little over 700. So he was not a star, but he certainly was better with Milwaukee than the White Sox. He was a good stolen base guy, and he had been as well. Batting average up 36 points. That's big difference. Just 1 home run with the White Sox, only 11 with Milwaukee. So again, he didn't have the greatest year, but he was certainly better with Milwaukee. And we've got John Danks starting game 1. Going up against Zach Greinke with Milwaukee. Then to the 9th we go with Jesse Crane. Strikeout, flyout, a Kochman single, and that's all there was to it. Game 2. Chris Sale is going up against Giovanni Gallardo. Milwaukee takes a lead. Nori Aoki walks. That was somebody that we added to the game at the very beginning. He got Rookie of the Year votes in real life in 2012. So we made sure that he was in the game, not necessarily called up, but he was in the minor leagues and available for Milwaukee right off the bat. But yeah, Hart with a single, Nori walks, and then Green hits a single. So they've got the bases loaded right now with 2 outs. Alex Gonzalez up to bat. Pitching change. John Rauch comes in and gets out of it. Milwaukee still with just that 1-run lead. Jose Veras leads for K-Rod. Francisco Rodriguez coming in now. Lead off double from Ramirez. That helps a little. Followed by a Paul Konerko home run. Wow. Goldie with a double. Rios flies out. Thompson sac fly adds another one. AJ Pierzynski singles. The magic continues. John Rauch gives way to Jesse Crane, who gets flyout, strikeout, ends the game. Game 3 now, we have got Gavin Floyd pitching against Sean Markham. Milwaukee comes back. This is a good back. White Sox come back again. Milwaukee comes back again. This is a crazy one. Milwaukee with a 1-run lead. Francisco Rodriguez is pitching now. We will go batter to batter here. First against Trace Thompson, who hits a single. Ramirez strikes out. Konerko flies out. Goldschmidt flies out. Will this be our first loss of the postseason? Which I cannot believe I'm saying that. Game 3 of the World Series. The White Sox have not lost a game yet. Brandon McCarthy in relief. He's already actually thrown 2 1/3 innings. And we start out by Hanley Ramirez getting on base via the error. McCarthy, I wonder how long he's going to stay in. I mean, he does have good stamina, especially for a reliever. Ramirez then steals a base. He is doing everything he can to extend this lead. Jonathan Lucroy flies out. Morgan hits a single. And finally, Braun strikes out. John Axford, their closer, is in. Brent Lilbridge up to bat. He hits a single. That's going to be followed by a home run, right? Ramirez flies out. Lilbridge steals a base. AJ strikes out down to the last out. And there we go. The first loss of the entire postseason for the White Sox. Still in good place, obviously. Game 4 in progress now. Randy Wolf pitching for Milwaukee, coming up against Mark Burley. And Milwaukee jumps out to an early 2-0 lead. AJ hits a single. Marcus Semien comes up. He reaches on what was obviously a huge error because AJ was able to score from first and Semien makes it all the way to third. Thompson walks. Ramirez hits a double, but Konerko strikes out. Goldschmidt strikes out. All right, we got ourselves a series. And again, I don't mind if we lose. It would be the first Brewers World Series championship in history if this happens. To game 5 we go, and we have Zach Greinke taking the bump against Jake Peavy, scoreless through 4. Yeah. Is this going to be the deciding game? John Danks against Giovanni Gallardo. To the 9th we go, and we are at home. Okay, so here we are. Starting out, Addison Reed going up against Green. Strikeout, fly out. Kochman hits a single, and then Nyjer Morgan flies out. Bottom of the 9th, Trace Thompson leads off with a double. AJ then singles. They play it very conservative, got runners on the corner, nobody out, and the White Sox have won the World Series. John Danks, 7 shutout innings, followed by Addison Reed, 2 shutout innings to win this game 1-0 with a walk-off in the 9th inning. Unreal. Yolmer Sanchez, World Series hero. Who would have ever put those words together? MVP of the league, Adrian Beltre. What did he do? 329 average, 43 home runs, 121 RBI. What a great season he had. Mark Burley wins the Cy Young. He went, just 21-3 with a 1.88 ERA. Reliever of the year, Matt Capps for the Twins. I can't believe they don't show us how many saves he got, but just a 1.96 ERA, so good for him. Rookie of the year, Russ Kanzler. That's for the American League, of course. AL Comeback Player of the Year, Justin Morneau. 322 average, 36 home runs, 118 RBI. In the National League, of course, the Brewers won the pennant. NL MVP Ryan Braun with 34 home runs, 113 RBI. On base plus slugging over 900. Cy Young winner Adam Wainwright, 17-5 with a 2.84 ERA. National League Reliever of the Year, Jonathan Papelbon. Rookie of the Year, Brett Pill. Now, we mentioned Brett Pill in our previous episode because he was an all-star and he was even in the home run derby. And I didn't know if this was a generated player, but no, Brett Pill was a real major league player. He did not do too much in reality, but hey, this is a different dimension. I don't want computer generated players playing an important role in what we're doing here. But Brett Pill was a real player, and we're going to see a whole new career for this guy, Mr. Brett Pill. Comeback Player of the Year in the National League was Taylor Green for the Brewers. He put together a 30 home run, 89 RBI campaign. World Series champion White Sox. And do we get World Series MVP? It is Paul Konerko. Paulie had 3 home runs, 6 RBI, had an on-base plus slugging over 800. So here we're looking at Gold Glove, and I might just scroll through this quickly in case anybody wants to take a look. And yes, we are far enough back in time that Giancarlo Stanton is actually going by Mike Stanton, and that will not change. But yeah, he's not exactly your typical Gold Glover. Matt Kemp, Don Brown, Roland, Utley, Votto, Molina, and then Sean Markham for Milwaukee. Silver Sluggers. Now, the White Sox better have a bunch of people on this list. DH, David Ortiz. Catcher, Chris Iannetta. Okay, 29 home runs. I don't think Pierzynski had more than that. Pierzynski had a great year, but I don't know if he had those kind of power numbers. First base, Mark Teixeira, 32, 103. Second base, Robbie Cano. Third base, that's where I'm going to start to take issue. Although, 43 home runs, 121 RBI. We had Aramis Ramirez, and he was our best player. I thought he was going to win league MVP. I wasn't really paying attention that closely, I guess. Alexi does win for shortstop, though, so that's nice. 307 average, 31 home run, 99 RBI. Outfield, Curtis Granderson Andrew Jones. I wonder if he'll make it to the Hall of Fame in this version of our in this reality. And then Josh Willingham for the Twins. Didn't see that one coming. Silver Sluggers in the National League: Kemp, Stanton, Braun, Taylor Green. Is Taylor Green a real person? Molino, Wainwright, Votto. Retiring players. Okay, apparently no major leaguers retired. Donnie Veal. Why does Donnie Veal retire? He's actually a White Sox minor leaguer. I think I got him into some big league games this year. I am surprised. Okay, I only got him into 2 games, but hey, 5 1/3 innings, scoreless. Okay, so we have to backfill a little bit there. Oh, so this is interesting. Because we did well, obviously attendance goes up. We spent more than we made, but because of postseason bonus and our attendance going up, we add on another 7, almost $8 million to our budget. So we can now play with up to $114.5 million. I'm happy to see that there's some cause and effect. I wasn't sure if we would see budgets change like that. So how are people trending? Paul Konerko is dropping according to this. He still had a great year. 34 home runs, 104 RBI, 295 average. His overall is a 90, which I guess it was a 92. Contact down, power down, speed. Aramis Ramirez, he's going down not nearly as sharply though. So, okay, I guess I'll address it here. I think Aramis Ramirez, as we see, 43 home runs, 118 RBIs, 331 batting average. He had such an exceptional year, and we have multiple holes to fill that I believe, is going to be my trade bait this year. Can I turn Aramis Ramirez into multiple good players? So we're not going to do any trading yet this year because I need to go back in and I need to add a whole bunch more minor leaguers to all the other teams. But just laying it out there now that I think that is what my plan is going to be. Paul Goldschmidt, this was maybe his first full season, maybe his second. So he's still a developing player. And we see that he is trending the right direction. Alexi, gosh, he's going down a little bit. Actually, contact and power is up, but speed is down. Lil Bridge, I don't know. I did not give him a 4-star rating. I would not have put him that high. The game did. I can't imagine. He hit 25 home runs with 90 RBIs. Is that just too far from reality? Maybe I'll trade Brent Lilbridge just to run from this fake version of a real player. I don't know. Alex Rios, he's holding up all right. Contact and power go up, speed goes down. Simeon, there we go. There's some development. As we see here, he's a 5-star potential player. Do not look at the picture, which is not a good representation, but he's only at a 3-star rating right now. So he is a guy that's developing and he's going up a lot. Contact way up, power up, speed even up a little bit. So he's a guy you could build around. Trace Thompson, his overall went up a little bit. Contact went up a little bit. Okay. Flowers. Yeah. I mean, I just, in real life, I'm just not a fan. He was such a good framer, but that's all. He was all glove, no bat. So contact is going up, but it's still pretty low. Power is going up. Let's see. AJ, it's 2012. We're getting some older players here, but he is actually taking some positive steps forward. Contact and power both up. So we're looking at best silver slugging catchers. 15 home runs is good. Is certainly very good, but not to be the top hitting catcher. Yulmer, holding about even. So here we go. Here's a weird one. Gordon Beckham is only a 2-star. Allegedly, his potential, and again, I didn't set this. This was a pre-existing player. His potential is up to a 5, but he had a terrible year. His overall goes down. His contact goes down. Nothing else changes. I got to see if there's any way I can find to give him additional coaching, just keep him in the minor leagues. I don't even know. Beckham is definitely not progressing the way we wished. Chris Sale definitely has room to grow. As we see, 5-11 record, 4.17 ERA. He's very young in this game, but we aren't seeing some growth yet. John Danks, what do we see? Kind of holding steady, 3.90 ERA, 12-7. Not bad. McCarthy holding. Matt Thornton, he is dropping. His overall is down to control down, stamina down, composure down. Let's start to look at real life. So here's Matt Thornton's baseball reference page. As we look at 2012, he still is with the White Sox in 2013, gets traded to Boston. He sticks around until 2016. So he is not at the end of his career, even though the game has him starting to really drop off right now. He was one of the greatest bridge guys, one of the greatest 8th inning guys that I ever remember seeing with the White Sox. And I wasn't sure where he was in his timeline here. So he was still a good player with the White Sox. However, in 2013, he does drop off. but he has a really nice 2013 with the Red Sox. In 2014, he goes to the Yankees and the Nationals, has pretty good years there. So, look at all of the expiring contracts. McCarthy, Rauch, Pierzynski, Dallas McPherson, Malloy, Schultz, Marino. And the weird thing was, I really was trying to figure out how to extend people mid-season, and I just could not find how to do that. AJ absolutely is the priority. Also, if you don't remember, so a challenge I'm giving myself is to give kind of like franchise tags, if you will. That's not really the right way to say it, but certain guys who are an important part of the team, Mark Burley, Konerko, Pierzynski, guys dating back to the '05 championship series, especially, those are people who I have to always offer a contract to. And that's an additional challenge for myself, because as long as they're willing to come back, I've got to be willing to pay them. So that's going to eat up budget. It's going to eat up roster space, and they might be well past their prime. And I still got to bring them back, even if I don't end up playing them. I sign them to a major league contract and I keep them in the minors or eating up bench space. But again, it's part of the challenge. We already won the World Series in season 1, so challenges are welcome. So let's negotiate with AJ. He is looking for, it's just way too small. It's too easy. 2 years, 1.5 million each. I'm going to boost that up. I got to make it a little bit more realistic. As we see there, available expenses, available money, just 6.5 million left to burn. And that's before offering the contract. I'm going to take him up to 1.75, which I know is still way too cheap. I don't know. I feel bad doing it for just 1.6 like he was asking. So let's offer that contract. It's been accepted. AJ is back with the team. Brandon McCarthy, negotiate 4 years, 1.42. I'm just going to do it. If it doesn't work out, I can trade him. Offer was not accepted. Well, you were the one that started it. Let's move on for a second here. John Rauch, 2 years. If he's asking for what would today be considered league minimum, of course. Okay, Brandon McCarthy. Let's try this again. Okay, he just wanted a little bit more. Okay, Dallas McPherson. What do we got going on here? He's a 2-star and it's going down. I don't know. I was going to bring him back just because he's a real player and we need depth, but I don't care. Goodbye, Dallas McPherson. Okay, just taking a quick look around baseball, both in real life and in our version. In our version, the White Sox won 95 games, being the second best American League team. In real life, the 2012 White Sox won 85 games. They were 85 and 77. They finished second in the Central, behind the Detroit Tigers. And actually, in real life, the Tigers won 88 games. In our version, they won 86. Not too shabby. The real life Minnesota Twins only won 66 games this year, but as we see here, they won 82 in our version. So Minnesota fans are liking our version of reality a little bit better. The Yankees in real life won 95 games, and in our version, they won 96. So pretty close there. However, the Blue Jays, that's another big difference. 90 games in our version, 90 wins, I should say, in our version, just 73. They finished in 4th place in the East. Wow, here's a massive difference. Probably the biggest one we're going to see. The Baltimore Orioles, in real life, they finished 2nd place in the AL East with 93 wins. Our version, they just had 67 wins, finishing as the worst team in the American League. In the National League, the Brewers won 83 games in real life, but yes, we see 99 here. The Cardinals in both versions were 2nd place, and both versions 88 wins. So the Cardinals fared accurately, very accurately. The Marlins, that's one I wanted to check out. They only had 69 wins in real life, finishing in last place in the East. But as we see, 86 here. So that's a heck of a change. The Nationals, good team, both sides. Actually, they were great in 2012 with 98 wins, 83 for us. The Padres got lucky in our version, 76 wins, which doesn't sound that bad, but that's good enough for 4th place in the West back in 2012. 82 wins here. The Phillies were also completely accurate, 81 wins in both versions. Let's see the bats. Let's see the Cubs. We always have to see what the Cubs did. In real life, they only had 61 wins. In our game, they had 77. So they went 61 and 101 back in 2012. Now, looking ahead, one of the goals that I have for this season in, season out is to always do better than the real life White Sox did. So let's take just a very quick look at the 2013 White Sox and what do we have to overcome to be better. We should be able to do this okay. The 2013 White Sox finished with a record of 63 and 99. So we can do absolutely nothing and stimulate the entire season, and I think we're going to clearly easily clear that. Who were the quote unquote team leaders? Chris Sale led the way and with 6.5 WAR. Jose Quintana, and I don't even remember where Quintana is in this game. I think he's in the minor league still for us. When you have Hector Santiago as your third most valuable player on your team, it's not a great team. Alexi, of course, is still there. Jesse Crane, Alex Rios, Matt Lindstrom, Connor Gillespie, Addison Reed, David Percy. I'm a nerd for White Sox. I don't even know that name. Beckham was just a .7 WAR. John Dinks was just a .7 WAR. So this was a rough team. As we see, Adam Dunn was still on the team. Obviously, he didn't make that list. He was not a net positive. His on base plus slugging plus was actually positive at 105, but yeah, just mid 700s on base plus slugging. Rios just barely over league average, just barely under was Diane Viciero and Alejandro De Aza. We had Avi Garcia on this team, just 42 games played. Was this the year where he got injured really early on? Oh, this is the year the White Sox picked him up from Detroit. That's a mid-season pickup. Interesting. Always fun to look back. Marcus Simeon is on the team here, of course. Just 21 games played. Dwayne Wise. There's Larry Garcia, maybe his first big league action. It's always fun to see, to look back and see when these players started to first pop up. So here's Donnie Veal. In our version, he's already retired, but he did actually play 5 games. Jesse Crane, only just 2 games. And our rotation was Sale, Quintana, Santiago, John Danks, Dylan Axelrod, and Jake Peavy, with Addison Reed as our closer. When we get into this, during the season especially, we'll be talking about who got traded, who got picked up in real life as we create our fantasy squad and defend a world championship, defend our second world championship within less than a decade span, 2005 and 2012. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with this weird, wild journey, this experiment of mine. If you have any ideas in mind for how you would like to rewrite history in a way that would make a White Sox fan smile for the season 2013, definitely leave a comment and let me know.